Welcome to the So That's Why podcast, where we unpack the science behind everyday questions. I'm Jen.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Matt.
All right, here's something that I've never known the answer to. Why do some people turn tomato red when they exercise, while others barely break a sweat? I'm talking about that person, and let's be honest, it is often me, who looks like they've been dunked in beetroot juice after a park run, while the person next to me finishes looking ready for a photo shoot.
Oh, you mean the difference between someone, who looks like you should probably go check on them, maybe call the doctor, and the other person, which is like, did you even run? I'm like you, Jen. I look radioactive, like this kind of colour after a workout.
Exactly. But here's what annoys me. Everyone says it's about fitness level. You'll stop going red when you get fitter. But my fitness has improved loads over the past 5 years, especially, and I still turn bright red.
So you'll be delighted to know the real reason involves genetics, which are determining how your blood vessels respond to heat and exertion. So it's got virtually nothing to do with fitness.
Brilliant.
So my tomato face then is genetic. Is this what we're saying?
Exactly. So by the end of this episode, hopefully you'll understand why your face's response to exercise is programmed into your DNA and why some people might actually have an advantage with their lobster look, let's call it. In fact, I can feel myself getting redder just talking about getting redder. So exercise-induced facial flushing, it affects about 70% of people to some degree. So for some, it's enough to ruin their confidence and motivation completely.
Guilty of that. I mean, there's nothing more humbling than catching your reflection in a car window and wondering if you need medical attention.
No, it's true. It is a problem. It's a social problem because, research has shown that people with pronounced exercise flushing are 40% more likely to avoid group fitness classes and more likely to exercise alone and in quiet times in the gym.
It's a little bit sad, isn't it, really? If you change your health routines because of something you can't actually control.
Exactly. But as well as usually being out of our control, flushing intensity actually has virtually no correlation with cardiovascular fitness, effort level, or how out of shape you are.
So all those years then, I guess, of thinking I'll stop going red when I get fitter weren't actually true. Is this what we're saying?
It turns out that's the case. It just means your body is doing its own thing, and that's totally okay.
Okay, so if it's not fitness, what's actually causing the differential response? I'm assuming, thinking about it, it's got something to do with the blood vessels opening up in your skin. But why is there such variation between people?
Yeah, so you're spot on with the blood vessel link. So this is about blood vessel density and reactivity. So the densities of blood vessels in facial skin, it varies greatly from person to person, which is one of the drivers why there is this variation.
So some of us looked out and look good while exercising, and the rest of us, me, maybe you, Jen, as well, we got the sort of the human traffic light package.
Pretty much, and I can put myself in that category too, definitely go red running. But there is more to it. So research conducted in Australia, it showed it's also about reactivity. So it's how quickly your blood vessels are responding to triggers like heat and core temperature changes.
So we're talking about the temperature at which the blood vessels start to open up.
Exactly, yeah. So some people's facial blood vessels react immediately, even to very small increases in core body temperature. So in some people, it could be responses that kick in when your body temperature increases by just 1/3 of a degree Celsius.
Yeah, that's
Which
me.
Feels like 1/3 of a degree, feels like a bit of an overreaction by my body, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, you'd think so, but people with this high facial vascular reactivity, they tend to have better overall or more efficient overall thermoregulation. So their bodies get ahead of this heat problem before it becomes too serious, which means better core temperature maintenance and overall overheating risk during prolonged activity is reduced.
Wait, so people like me actually might be better at temperature regulation?
In many cases, yeah. Yeah, so research shows this kind of pronounced facial flushing often correlates with better performance in hot temperatures.
Oh, brilliant. So that means actually becoming red-faced is my superpower, like I'm red-face man, Stand back. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's red-faced man.
Yeah, I'm not sure quite where to go with that. But yeah, why not? But yeah, some people have what is known as distributed thermoregulation. You could be distributed thermoregulation, man. No,
Yeah,
I like red face, man.
I'm thinking about the cape.
yeah,
Knuckles.
it's a lot of wording to put on the back.
Yeah.
But these people with distributed thermoregulation, they spread heat dissipation evenly. So that's why flushing doesn't happen to everyone, because those people have this kind of different genetic programming, but it ultimately achieves the same goal whether you flush a lot or not. It's either localized or more spread out.
But presumably the concentrated facial response must have some trade-offs.
But no, interestingly not, because the facial flushing response is just more visible. So it might create kind of social discomfort, but from a physiological perspective, it's working perfectly and exactly the same as someone who has not got this visual flushing.
That's really interesting, isn't it? I'm curious though, right? How does this work across different people groups? Like, are there predictable patterns maybe?
There are. So if we start with, like, I think it's not like Northern Europeans. So people of Northern European descent, they're about 60% more likely to experience pronounced facial flushing than people from East Asia or, the sub-Saharan African descent. But within any age group or demographic, there's still huge individual variation.
I mean, what about the gender, like differences between the genders? Because I definitely notice more women at like the park run looking redder than the men.
That might actually just be like a perception, to be honest, in reality, because like most studies or data, they'll show that men and women have almost identical rates of exercise-induced facial flushing. Although, you've clearly never run near me. If you notice the women, I'm red as a beetroot after about 1K.
And what about the effect of age? Do the vessels change? Does the elasticity of the vessels change over time?
Yeah, that's such a great question, because like facial flushing intensity decreases slightly with age, but not from fitness changes, because that blood vessel elasticity does naturally decrease too. So people in their 60s typically experience about a third less dramatic flushing than they did in their 20s.
So what you're saying, Chris, is for me, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I just have to wait another 10 years to get to the light.
10 years? Sorry about that. But yeah, there's also recovery factor to consider. So fit individuals, like they return their normal skin colour about 50% faster after exercise stops.
I mean, that makes sense. Improved cardiovascular efficiency, which means that the heat leaves your body more easily.
Yeah, exactly. And something I read that was interesting, well, I found interesting, was that athletes with the higher kind of facial vascular reactivity appear to maintain better performance in higher temperatures. So this red flushing effect might actually be a performance advantage in hot weather, so hot weather training. Why not?
So what can people actually do about it if it bothers them, given that it's genetic?
Yeah, because knowing it's genetic doesn't really help when you're trying to, look like you're not having a medical emergency at the gym.
So this one is going to sound like an obvious, but not many people actually do it. And this is pre-cooling. So pre-cooling is one of the most useful measures here. And you can apply cool, damp cloths to your wrists and to your temples for 2 to 3 minutes before exercise. And that can reduce facial flushing intensity by about a quarter.
And do you just put that like on your wrists and on your temples just there?
Yes, it's basically any of the pressure points. They're the main pressure points. So they're the areas that have blood vessels close to the surface and they connect directly to facial capillaries. So you're basically cooling the main supply lines.
I can see it now, me at the park run start line with ice packs strapped around my wrists.
It's a Kodak moment, right? Maybe put a bag of frozen peas on the temples as well, right? But if it works, who cares, right? Is there anything else maybe that's going to help us?
Again, I might sound like an obvious, but it's a really important one. It's hydration. Hydration definitely matters. So having a glass of cool water about 20 minutes before exercise, it really helps maintain better temperature regulation during that exercise. So, but your body needs that time to distribute that fluid before the kind of heat stress begins. So there's no point drinking it literally as you're going over that start line.
And what about what we wear, our clothing choices? Presumably, if you wear a more breathable fabric around your neck, that might help.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the neck. So your neck contains major blood vessels that supply the face. So keeping that area cool can have a dramatic effect. So light-coloured, moisture-wicking fabrics reduce overall heat load too.
So we have to pre-cool, which I think is one of the greatest phrases I've heard for a while. We have to hydrate. We have to wear the right clothes. So that's what we have to do. What should we not do? What should we avoid?
You always ask me what we've got to avoid. I'm honestly like Captain Sensible, Mr. Boy, or whatever. But
You're
I've
the
got to
dad.
use the same one as always.
Yeah,
We've
you're the
got
dad, Chris.
You should try and avoid alcohol within 24 hours of intense exercise because alcohol dilates blood vessels and it makes flushing much more pronounced. But also, hot showers, or very hot showers immediately after exercise can again prolong the flushing response.
So basically, everything that feels good after a run, like we did Tough Mudder, and as you cross the line, they give you it was a pint of cider or something like that. So that celebratory drink, that scalding hot shower, they're what we shouldn't do.
Now, you will notice I mentioned don't drink before the run. I can't really comment on after the run, but I think, you've earned it by that point. So I think all bets are off. But yeah, pretty much in terms of, avoiding heat, the hot shower thing straight after. But it's just so important to remember that for most people, the flushing thing is completely harmless. And it indicates your thermoregulation system, your body's heat management is working properly.
But is there a time when we should actually be concerned about a red face and exercise?
So I think if that flushing is accompanied by other symptoms, so maybe dizziness, nausea, confusion, or it doesn't resolve itself and go back to normal within like 30 minutes, that's the time to maybe just check you haven't got heat exhaustion. Because if you have, you might need medical attention.
So the genetic factors we've mentioned before that are controlling the facial flushing, do they influence other physiological responses too?
Yeah, great question. So people with high vascular reactivity, they often have similar responses in other areas. So those people tend to blush more easily during emotional responses. I feel myself blushing now.
Yeah, me too.
But they're also more sensitive to, hot foods like, spicy foods and just temperature change more generally.
Okay, so those of us who do turn red during exercise, basically we're also human mood rings.
Yeah, that's not far off the mark. I think that's my experience.
That's it. But again, interestingly, people with this responsive vascular systems, they've often got better cardiovascular adaptation to exercise over time.
What do you mean better?
I know that sounded quite technical, didn't it?
It did.
So what it means is their hearts become more efficient more quickly with training. So they often see their heart rate and blood pressure, their resting heart rate and blood pressure reductions faster than people with less responsive systems.
So the same genetic programming that's making us look like tomatoes is actually supporting the long-term cardiovascular adaptation.
Exactly, yeah. Your facial flushing is just one visible sign of a complex system that's working well, even if it feels a bit embarrassing at the moment.
Right, so some people turn red during exercise while others barely break a sweat because...
It's because of genetic differences in facial blood vessel density and reactivity. And it's got virtually nothing to do with fitness level and everything to do with how your cooling system is programmed.
Great. So the next time someone comes up to me and tells me that I'll stop going red when I actually get fitter, I can tell them scientifically to naff off because it's just a bit of nonsense. It's maybe just my superior thermoregulation system in action.
So that's why your face turns red during exercise. It's not a sign of being out of shape, it's a sign that your temperature control system is working exactly as designed.
Absolutely. So hopefully this explanation helps.
So that's it for this week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as we're going to be unpacking the science behind everyday questions each week. And tell us in the comments what questions you'd like us to explore. Thanks for geeking out with us. But for now, that's it from me.
That's it from me.
And that's it from me.
Bye.